morning, dear students. I am Miss NAVEDA SHAIKH from Brahan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika MCGM virtual class. I welcome all my dear students to another and interesting session. In today's session, we'll be learning something new and interesting from a science textbook. So let's get started. Good morning, dear students. I am Mrs. NAVEDA SHAIKH from MCGM virtual class. I welcome all my dear students to another and interesting session. In today's class, we'll be learning a very interesting chapter from your science textbook, and the chapter's name is Fun with Magnets. As the name itself suggests, fun with magnets means we will be having a lot of fun studying this chapter, which is related to magnet. Now, we've all known about a magnet. What exactly is a magnet? You must have seen so many things around us. You must have played with magnets also so many times. But do you know what is it made up of, and how can we make use of magnets in different ways? Okay, so let's understand more about magnets in a very fun and interesting way in this chapter. So let's get started. In our day-to-day life, we use magnets in so many things. You must have seen cranes lifting heavy objects during construction sites. On the construction sites, you must have seen cranes working. In that also, there is use of magnets, and those magnets are very strong magnets. Okay, remember that. In your purses also, you have magnetic button where when you open it and for locking arrangement it is used. Then in the refrigerator doors that are there, जब हम लोग उसे छोड़ते हैं आहिस्ते से तो automatically stick हो जाता है, and that is because of the magnet which is there in the fridge. You have compass box also. There are many compass box which have magnet at the opening so that it can easily open and close. There are compass that you must have seen. compass जो होते हैं जिसके अंदर एक magnetic needle होती है जो हमें directions बताते हैं. Then you must have on the refrigerators there are various kinds of alphabets, or there are some kind of magnetic pictures or scenes where it is very beautiful and you stick it on the refrigerator. Those are also having magnet on the back side. Okay, apart from that, there are various other things in your house also which where you make use of magnets. The pin in your school also you must have seen the pin holder. उसके जो ऊपर का जो portion होता है ना उसके ऊपर magnet होता है, and that allows the pin to stick to it, and it becomes very easy to remove one pin at a time, and that the pins do not fall off. ठीक है? So these are a few magnets that we use in our day-to-day. So what do we already know about magnets? So what is a magnet? The material to which objects made from iron, nickel, cobalt, etc. get attracted is called a magnet. कोई एक ऐसा stone होता है magnet जिससे iron है, nickel है, cobalt है, etc. There are certain materials which like iron, nickel, cobalt which stick to this magnet. Okay, they get attracted towards this, and this property of material getting attracted towards a magnet is called as magnetism. Okay, so remember this. कौन से materials को magnet stick होता है? Iron, nickel, cobalt. There are certain substances, there are certain materials that can stick to a magnet, and those are called as magnetic materials. And some materials that do not stick to a magnet are called non-magnetic materials. The magnetic material examples are iron, cobalt, nickel. These are all magnetic materials. They can easily stick to a magnet. Whereas non-magnetic material could be, the examples are here on the screen: rubber, plastic, wood. These are all non-magnetic materials which do not get attracted or stick to the magnets. So they are called as non-magnetic materials, and the materials which stick to the magnet are called as magnetic materials. What are we doing? What are we going to learn in today's class? We will be understanding that some material attracted towards magnet. What are the characteristics of magnet? That magnets can repel and attract each other, and how magnets behave. What happens when you put two magnets together? So all these things we will be learning in this chapter. Let us learn about the discovery of magnet, as to how this magnet came into existence. किस तरीके से मिला? ये किसी ने बनाया नहीं था. ठीक है, remember that it wasn't made. It was already there and it was just discovered. Okay, so there is a legend about the discovery of magnet. It is said that the shepherd named Magnus lived in Greece. Once while his sheep were grazing, he sat down on a big rock, but what a surprise he got when he tried to get up. His staff and his shoes were stuck to the rock. He had to use great force to pull himself away from the rock. He realized that when he had happened was what had happened was because of the iron ferrule on his staff and the iron nails in his shoes. However, the other rock did not stick to his shoes or staff. Later, he showed the rock to everybody. The rock was named magnetite after Magnus, the shepherd. Magnetite is a natural magnet. It is also possible that the name magnet came from Magnesia, the part of Greece where magnets were discovered. Okay, so I hope the story is clear how the magnet came into existence, and it was already there. Nobody has made it. Okay, it is a naturally occurring thing, and it was this shepherd Magnus who discovered the stone and came up with that stone to other people, and he showed it to them and people learned about that, and now we are using it on a large scale. Okay, so Hannah, बहुत interesting story. And magnets can have a variety of shapes depending upon their uses. Today magnets are used in many machines and gadgets or devices. They are all man-made magnets. Bar magnet, disc magnet, horseshoe magnet, ring-shaped magnets, cylindrical magnet are also as well as small button magnets are the different shapes of magnet in everyday use. Okay, so here in this picture you can see various types of magnets: horseshoe magnet, then bar magnet, which is used in your school also, and you must have played it also in your house with a bar magnet. Then you have cylindrical magnet, you have magnetic needle, then you have button magnet, which is used in small items to stick on the refrigerators or sticky notes. Okay, so we make use of magnets in everyday uh, things that we do. Let us see more uses of magnets which are found every day. What are some uses of magnets? Magnets are in most electronic devices. In fact, anything that has motor uses a magnet. So here in this picture you can see that a television, computer, roller coaster, then you have refrigerator, microwave, all these things have magnets in them. Okay, now in order to track and track certain animals, magnets are also used inside their body also in order to keep a track of them. Magnets are even placed in the stomach of cows to catch metals. It is magnets are used to keep refrigerator doors closed. They are used to slow down roller coasters and subways. Television, computers, microwave oven all operate with magnets. Now let us understand what exactly is magnetism. When a magnet attracts an object, that object is displaced due to the magnetic force. Okay? Now here in this pictures you can see that there are magnets, and across the magnet you can see that there are different objects also, like a plier, or you can see a ball. Okay? Now this magnet has a property to attract things towards itself. ठीक है, जिसके वजह से वो चीजें मूव होती है अपनी जगह से. And when they are moving, because of the magnetic force, the objects move from their place. They get displaced because of the magnetic force. In places like factories, ports, garbage depots, large objects are shifted from place to place. For this purpose, cranes with magnets are used. Work is done by magnetic force. This shows that magnetism is a kind of energy. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Magnetism is also a kind of energy that is very important, and it is used in big factories, and it is used in lifting large objects also, and to move it from one place to the other. What are the characteristics of magnets? They are usually made of iron. They can also repel other magnets. They have two ends called magnetic poles. They can attract some materials. Let us understand about a few properties in detail of the magnet. A magnet always settles in the north-south direction. Okay, if I have a magnet, if I suspend it with the help of a string, okay, if I hang it with the help of a string and if I place it untouched, ठीक है, बिना इसे टच किए अगर हम लोग उसे ऐसे रख देंगे, अगर टाई करके रखेंगे, as you can see in the picture, you will notice that the magnet will move and it will move till it reaches the north south direction. ठीक है, जिस डायरेक्शन में नॉर्थ होगा उस डायरेक्शन में आकर वो सेटल हो जाएगा and then it will stop moving. Okay, so whenever the magnet that you see, it will always settle in the north south direction. The end of the magnets that point to the north is called as the north pole, while the end that points to the south is called the south pole. The north pole is indicated by capital N and the south pole is denoted by a capital S. Okay, so these are a few things that you need to remember. When you see a bar magnet, you must have noticed that on the bar magnet also there is S and N mentioned. The S denotes south pole and the N denotes the north pole. ठीक है, दो एंड्स होते हैं, दोनों हमेशा याद रखेंगे कि मैग्नेट हमेशा नॉर्थ साउथ डायरेक्शन में सेटल होता है. The magnetic force is concentrated at the two ends or poles of the magnet. Now here you can see iron filings which are placed on a sheet of paper. ठीक है, आयन के बारीक बारीक फाइलिंग्स रखे गए हैं, पीसेस रखे गए हैं, and the magnet is kept there. And if you notice, the magnet will attract the iron filings from where are they attracting? They are attracting from the ends. टू एंड्स, नॉर्थ पोल और साउथ पोल जहां पर एकदम एंड्स है ना, वहां पर से वो अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं. इन बोथ द शेप्स यू कैन सी द डिफरेंस. ठीक है, हॉर्सशू मैग्नेट के अंदर भी जो एंड्स होते हैं नॉर्थ और साउथ पोल के, वहां पर ज्यादा आयरन फाइलिंग स्टिक हुए हैं. एंड इफ यू सी द बार मैग्नेट्स ऑल्सो, the bar magnet also has more iron filings stuck towards the ends or the poles of the magnet. ठीक है, बीच में आयरन फाइलिंग स्टिक होते हुए नहीं दिखाई दे रहे हैं, बट जो पोल्स हैं उस पे बहुत सारे मैग्नेट आयरन फाइलिंग स्टिक हुए हुए हैं. सी, so with this you can say that the magnetic force is concentrated at the two ends or poles of a magnet. The next important property is if a magnet is divided into two parts. Now if I have a magnet and if I cut it from the center, when you cut it, what will happen? Two independent magnets are formed. जब हम लोग इसे बीच में से काटेंगे तो दो अलग अलग मैग्नेट बन जाएंगे. ठीक है, it means that the two poles of the magnet cannot be separated from each other. अगर हम लोग इसे बीच में से भी काटेंगे तो भी वो सेपरेट, उनके जो पोल्स है वो सेपरेट नहीं होते. वो जो एक ग्रीन पोर्शन है वो एक अलग मैग्नेट बन जाएगा और जो रेड पोर्शन है वो एक अलग मैग्नेट बन जाएगा. If we still go on doing this further ahead, you will get so many magnets. Okay, because the magnets cannot the poles cannot be separated. Okay, remember that. तो अगर हम लोग कट करते जाएंगे सेंटर से हम लोगों का मैग्नेट को, तो हम लोगों को और मैग्नेट्स मिलते चले जाएंगे, बनते चले जाते हैं. The next important property that we have is a magnetic material acquires magnetism when placed near a magnet. तो अगर here you can see in this picture there is a magnet, okay, and the magnet is brought near the iron filings. जैसे हम लोग उसे नजदीक लेके जाते हैं ना, तो क्या हो जाता है, आयरन फाइलिंग उससे स्टिक हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, so the iron filings stick to the iron bar when the magnet is near it and falls off as soon as the magnet is taken away. That is, the magnetism in the bar vanishes. Here in this picture you can see in both the images. First picture you can see that there are iron filings which are stuck to the magnet. Why? Because it is brought near it. ठीक है, आयन बार से स्टिक हो रहे हैं बिकॉज द ऊपर ऊपर क्या है, ऊपर मैग्नेट है और नीचे जो ऑरेंज कलर दिख रहा है दैट इज द आयन बार. ओके, और नीचे जो है हमारे आयन फाइलिंग्स है. व्हेन दे आर ब्रॉट near, what will happen? The iron filings will stick, and the magnet is taken away, the magnetism will go off and the iron filings will drop. Okay, so magnetism के लिए क्या होना जरूरी है? Magnetic material should be near the material. Okay, magnetic material के near होना चाहिए magnet, then only the magnetism is called induced magnetism. There is repulsion between like poles of a magnet, while there is attraction between the opposite poles. Like means same poles. Like means north and north pole, south and south pole. These are called as like poles, same poles. अगर दो magnet है, दो magnets के अगर same sides है, अगर north और north है, same poles है, तो वो एक दूसरे से दूर चले जाएंगे. और अगर opposite poles है, तो वो एक दूसरे से करीब आते हैं. They attract each other. Okay, so if I fix a bar magnet to a stand, let it become steady. Take another bar magnet near the hanging bar magnet. You have to observe what happens. Do the same again and again, exchanging the ends of the magnet. If you keep on doing this, you will come to know that जब हमारे magnet का जो pole, अगर suppose हमारे magnet का north pole है और the magnet that is there in your hand और उसका अगर south pole लेके जाएंगे तो वो दोनों attract हो जाएंगे. Whereas अगर हमारा जो नॉर्थ पोल है मैग्नेटिक स्टैंड के अंदर और हम लोग उसके पास नॉर्थ पोल ही लेके जाते हैं ऑफ द अदर मैग्नेट, तो दे विल रिपेल ईच अदर, वो एक दूसरे से दूर हो जाएंगे. ठीक है, सो यू कैन ट्राई दिस एट होम. इफ यू हैव टू मैग्नेट्स, यू कैन ट्राई दिस एट होम. इट इज वेरी फन टू डू. Another thing that you can do is take a needle or a nail, place it steady on a table. Keep on rubbing a magnet over it from one end to the other. Do this 7 to 8 times. Now take a few pins near that needle or the nail. What is seen? In this way, you will see that the nail on which you are rubbing the magnet again and again gets magnetized. It acquires magnetism. उसके अंदर magnetism आ जाती है. And that nail will attract the other pins. Okay, now this is temporary. It is not permanent. The nail does not become or the needle does not become a permanent magnet, but उसके अंदर थोड़े time के लिए magnetic properties आ जाती है. ठीक है, so magnetism of this kind is temporary. It lasts for a short while only. Another experiment that we can do is, if you take an iron nail of about 10 centimeter length and 1 meter long insulated copper wire, a battery cell, here all the things are mentioned, here you can see pins on the other magnetic objects. You have to wind the copper wire around the nail as shown in the figure. You have to join both the ends of the wire to the cell. Now take the pins near the head of the nail. What do you see? तो हम लोग हमारे जो nails के ऊपर you have to do one activity. You can do this also at home. So here we are doing this experiment. Very simple. You have to take one nail. You have to tie a copper wire on it, and you will have two ends, right, of the copper wire. ऊपर का जो एक end होगा, you will have another. You should take a battery and place both the ends of the copper wire, one on the plus side and one on the minus side, okay, of the battery. You will notice that if you take a few pins on towards the nail, the pins will get stuck to the nail. Now why is this happening? During the above activity, we saw that the pins stick to the nail. Now when you stop the electric current, once you remove the copper wire, so once you remove it, what will you see? You will see that the pins will fall off. Why does this happen? Because there was magnetism which was produced in the nails due to the electric current. When it is put off, the magnetism vanishes. Such a magnet is called as electromagnet because of the electric current, magnetism is getting induced, right? So this magnetism is called as electromagnet. This magnetism is also temporary. It doesn't make the nail a permanent magnet. Okay? So I hope electromagnetism is also clear. Remember, you can do this at home also in order to have a better understanding के electromagnetism होता क्या है. Because in the next coming year, we'll be learning more about electromagnetism. So if this concept is clear right now, पहले हम लोग ने क्या देखे थे? In the last activity, we had seen that there was a nail and on the nail you were rubbing the मैग्नेट 7 to 8 टाइम्स, और उस वजह से क्या हो रहा था, द नेल और द नीडल acquired magnetism for a short time. Okay, that was temporary. और वो nail and needle was able to attract other pins. ठीक है, so that was acquired induced magnetism. Now here there is an electric cell. ठीक है, भले ये बैटरी है, ये बैटरी के अंदर क्या हो रहा है, इलेक्ट्रिक करंट प्रोड्यूस होता है. ठीक है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रिक करंट द नेल ईयर विच इसके ऊपर कॉपर वायर हम लोग ने वाइंड किया गया है, इट इज एक्टिंग एज अ मैग्नेट. ओके, so your electric current is used in order to produce magnetism, and that is why it is called as electromagnet. What do all these new words actually mean? We have learned so many words now. In this chapter, we have learned about magnet. It is a stone or a piece of metal that attracts some other metal. Attract means to pull towards each other. ठीक है, attract करना मतलब कोई चीज को अपनी तरफ खींचना. Repel means to push away from each other. Push मतलब repel करना मतलब एक दूसरे से दूर हो जाना, दूर होना. Poles, poles mean the ends of a magnet. Whenever you place any, you take any magnet, any shape magnet, it will have two ends. ठीक है, दो sides होंगे, दो poles होंगे उसके. Those ends are called as the poles of the magnet. Let us understand about the poles here. This red and blue color is used in order to help you understand about the two poles of the magnet. Every magnet has at least one north pole and one south pole. The blue end of a magnet is usually the south pole. The red end of a magnet is usually the north pole. Here in this picture you can see south pole and north pole facing each other. When two magnets are close, they create pushing or pulling forces on one another. These forces are strongest at the ends of the magnets. The two ends of a magnet are known as the north pole and the south pole. ठीक है, so here you can see north pole and south pole clearly. And always remember, हम लोग कभी भी magnets को एक दूसरे के पास लेकर आते हैं तो what will happen, they attract each other or they repel each other. Here what did we find out after all this properties and characteristics that we studied? So now we know that like poles repel each other and that opposite poles attract each other. ठीक है, they do this because there is a force between them, and we talked about this force earlier. We learned that there is a force, magnetic force, which is pulling and pushing the magnets away and towards each other. So we learned that same poles repel each other. If there are two magnets, one is north pole facing towards the north pole of the other magnet, they will repel each other. Even if you try very hard, you will not be able to stick them together. If you try to put two magnets together with the same pole pointing towards one another, the magnets will push away from each other. We say that they repel each other. Okay? In this picture, two north poles are pushing away from each other. That is, they are repelling each other. Understood? If you put two magnets together with different poles pointing towards one another, the magnets will pull towards each other. We say that they attract each other. So if I have a south pole and a north pole of the magnet facing each other, they will attract each other very fast. And why are they doing this? Because we have learned that there are unlike poles, alag poles hai, and these are unlike, and that is why they attract each other. In this picture, a north pole and a south pole are pulling towards each other, or we can say that they are attracting each other. Did you know that magnets can attract other magnets, but they can also attract magnetic materials? Magnetic materials are always metals, but only a few metals are magnetic. ठीक है, it is not necessary कि magnets हर किसी को attract करता है. ठीक है, there are very selective metals जिसको magnets attract करते हैं. ठीक है. Iron is magnetic. So any metal with iron in it will be attracted to a magnet. Steel contains iron, so a steel paperclip, for example, will be attracted to a magnet. Most other metals, for example, aluminium, copper and gold, are not magnetic. See, these are also metals, but still they are not magnetic because they do not have iron in them. ठीक है. एंड एल्यूमिनियम ड्रिंक्स कैन, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जो हम लोग एल्यूमिनियम के कैन पीते हैं ना, कोको कोला के, थम्स अप के, ठीक है, दैट कैन्स हैव एल्यूमिनियम, दे आर मेड अप ऑफ एल्यूमिनियम, विल नॉट बी अट्रैक्टेड टू अ मैग्नेट. ठीक है. मगर अगर हम लोग स्टील के कोई ऑब्जेक्ट लेंगे या फिर स्टील के जो पिन्स होते हैं, स्टेनलेस स्टील के पिन्स होते हैं, दे हैव अ लिटिल बिट अमाउंट ऑफ आयरन इन देम एंड दैट इज व्हाई द मैग्नेट स्टिक टू देम. So how do magnets help in a scrap yard? स्क्रैप यार्ड ऐसी जगह जहाँ पर चीज़ें स्क्रैप की जाती है. स्क्रैप मीन्स जैसे कि कार्स, व्हीकल्स जो भी होती है, जो डंप की जाती है, जो रिजेक्ट हो जाती है, स्क्रैप में डाली जाती है. ठीक है, उसे हम लोग स्क्रैप यार्ड कहते हैं. A car is made up of many different materials. When a car is scrapped, the different types of materials need to be sorted. A huge rotating magnet is used to sort the magnetic material from the non-magnetic materials. Now, कार के अंदर सीट कवर्स होते हैं, सीट होती है, there are so many different ग्लास होती है, टायर्स होते हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें नॉन मैग्नेटिक मटीरियल है ना. तो इससे इन्हें अलग करने के लिए there is a huge rotating magnet which is used to sort the magnetic materials from the non-magnetic material. Separating the materials allow them to be reused. ठीक है, अगर हम लोग इसे सेपरेट कर देंगे तो हम लोग उसे रीयूज कर सकते हैं easily. So that is why here also in this scrapyard also a magnet can be used in a very effective way. How is magnetism destroyed? Now remember, magnets are very important, and if magnets are not used properly, then the magnetism can get destroyed. मतलब उसकी magnetic property खत्म हो सकती है. Now how does it get destroyed? Magnetism get destroyed when a magnet is heated. अगर magnet को गर्म किया जाएगा या फिर उसे जोर से फेंक दिया जाता है, ठीक है, it is knocked out about or broken into pieces, what will happen? It will lose its magnetism. Therefore, it is important to store magnets carefully. A piece of soft iron is placed in the box in which magnet is kept. You will notice here in this picture the magnetic keeper. एक horseshoe magnet है और उसके सामने एक सॉफ्ट आयरन पीस प्लेस किया गया है ताकि उसे कोई फर्क ना पड़े. ठीक है, it doesn't get affected because of the outside surrounding. The bar of soft or pure iron protects a magnet. Therefore, such a bar is called a magnet keeper. ठीक है, it protects the magnetism of the magnet and that is why it is called as a magnetic key. Alright. So you have to remember, when handling a magnet, you should not throw it. If there are magnetic materials, magnetic objects also, objects which are using magnet in them, अगर हम लोग उसे बार बार गिराते रहते हैं तो उसके अंदर का मैग्नेटिक पावर खत्म हो सकता है. अगर हम लोग मैग्नेट को आग की तरफ लेके जाएंगे तो भी उसका मैग्नेटिज्म खत्म हो सकता है. सो यू शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल and you should handle the magnet carefully. Alright. So with this, I hope this chapter is quite clear to all my students. We have discussed what is a magnet, what are the uses of magnets in our day-to-day life. We have seen a few of the very important properties of a magnet, and we have learned about various new terms in this chapter, that is attract, repel, poles. Okay, so you have to remember those terms. We have learned about electromagnetism, we have learned about induced magnetism, and we also learned how to take proper care of a magnet and keep it safe. Okay, so with this we end our session here. In the next coming videos we'll be learning something more interesting, and if you have any doubts and queries, you can ask us in the comment section below. Till then, thank you. If you liked our session, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel so that you can share and view the videos that we had today for you. And please do not forget to hit the bell icon so that you remain updated with all the latest videos that we'll be making for our dear students. This session was quite useful to you. In the next coming period, we'll learn something new and interesting. Till then, thank you.